gradually nears. A fleeting encounter, then disappears. How did he leave? Did he fly with his ears? Murphy! He's a magical teleporting dog. It's Murphy! He's a cute and curly golden demigod. Not a mark on him, not a hair left behind. He's better behaved than all humankind. He'll clean up his paw prints for some bacon rind. Before you know it, he's gone. He's so streamlined. Murphy! He's a magical teleporting dog. It's Murphy! He's a cute and curly golden demigod. Traveling the universe through space and time. How do you do it? You're key to this crime. Are you here? Are you there? Are you anywhere or everywhere? Murphy! He's a magical teleporting dog. It's Murphy! He's a cute and curly golden demigod. You're such a good dog. You're such a good dog. Crimes after dark, close the night out right. Panel at the table in that half-dead light. Miss Robin in the middle, calling every shot, directing and producing till the story runs hot. 1-1 from the city, badge heavy on his chest, towing that law like a wicked chain, spitting facts, no rest. Crimes after dark, we close the night outright, tear through the lies till the wrong sounds like a fight. All of the answers buried so deep out of sight. We watch the threads unravel, we watch the threads ignite. JJ in the corner, state of the deep in his head. Which lies to toss and which ones to keep instead? Dago from the cafe says forget about it, leans back, spins his thoughts like a blade cutting holes in the track. Lee at the front, head advocate, steady stare, every word like a warning, every silence a dare. All of them leaning in, clock crawling, eyes bright. Every secret feels louder than the buzzing of the night. Crimes after dark, we close the night outright, tear through the lies till the wrong sounds like a fight. All of the answers buried so deep out of sight. We watch the threads unravel, we watch the threads ignite. You can bury it in paper, you can lock it in a file, but the truth bleeds through, drip by drip, tile by tile. We're dragging it to daylight, name by name, crimes after dark, we close the night outright. Tear through the lies till the wrong sounds like a fight. All of the answers buried so deep out of sight. We watch the threads unravel. We watch the threads ignite.
All right, everybody, welcome to another Crimes After Dark. Looks like everything is good to go. We got a full panel backstage. We've got topics to talk about. We've got all kinds of cool stuff queued up. Maybe a few too many people with soundboards. I don't even guarantee what kind of sounds might just randomly pop onto the show tonight. Everybody's got soundboards and they're having fun. It was like crazy backstage. Well, we'll be all right. Let's see what happens with that. I binge watched last night The Handsome Devil, the Wade Wilson story on Paramount. It was about Wade Wilson and the murders of a couple of women and his devilishly good looks that made social media explode and everybody to have thoughts about him. And I kind of want to talk about that and the whole like charisma and pretty factor and how it weighs into social media and what cases get discussion on. I thought it would be an interesting topic for anyone on my panel who may have seen it. If you haven't seen it, it's no big deal. I'll give you my thoughts on it anyways. We also have some updates on Kentucky and our fight for public records request in Kentucky, the Letcher County situation, as well as things going on in Kentucky State Police, and give you a little education on how that process is working out for us and teach you how to do things the way we're learning how to do business as a YouTube channel and all those things. And then maybe a little bit Copaka. Dug some more into some files last night and found some interesting digs into Copaka. And then I have no idea what my panel is going to say. So let's bring them up on stage in the order that they are backstage, and we'll kick this sucker off. Robin's backstage first. Robin, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you doing today, sir?
I have been mostly in bed all day today. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if I have some kind of sickness that's clinging, but I have been hard to get my ass out of bed all day today.
Well, I'm glad you're taking the time to rest and everything, but
Yeah.
well, we'll get you jazzed up, so
And somebody on the chat said they were already falling asleep before we get started. Like that, how do you fall asleep during that music? Our heaviest rock songs playing, and they're like, "I'm falling asleep already." I'm like, "Wow, that is hard to do." But anyway, so yeah, what's going on? Anything new in your life, or anything you want to talk about for today?
No, just we got our Easter decorations up today, so that was the big project there. Yeah, so we like to decorate for all the different seasons and stuff like that. So, but I just want to send a shout out to everyone. Welcome on in. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, like the video, send it out far and wide for all three channels. That really helps us out. We appreciate it so much. So, hey, if you're relaxing, fine and dandy, put on your nice little Snuggie and get your hot cocoa. And all make yourself comfy. That's all right. Settle in for great evening with Devil's Advocates. So
right, it can't be that bad. I mean, yeah, I think it's gonna be good. Just real quick, I used to want to always decorate my house with the seasons as well. Although Easter was never a big one for me, but it was at least the like Thanksgiving, the Christmas, the Halloween. Yep. Those are the big ones I wanted to decorate, and I just never got. I mean, we do decorate for a couple of those holidays. Don't decorate for Thanksgiving really, but anyways,
we're addicted to gnomes, so we have gnomes for every holiday.
Nice. All right, well, let's bring Logan up on stage. Logan, how are you doing tonight? Don't forget you're muted.
Hello, I'm excellent. How are you?
I'm excellent as well.
Well, that's good.
What's new in your life?
Oh, just got off the verdict room, which was a good show. Was supposed to have Lana on tonight, but she got stuck over at her son's. Well, not stuck. It's her son, but she was at her son's soccer game, and so we'll try again next month. But we still had a good show. Chat was amazing. So fun stuff.
I'm sure.
Very, very cool. Any highlights that you want to share from it, or you just want to get going and get the rest of up here?
I do have some just high profile case updates for later that we'll share towards the end of the show. So
Yeah, that was kind of fun when you did last time. And quick and dirty. Some of these other things are kind of fun to talk about and see what's out there in the rest of the true crime world. So we can give that a shot again at the end of the evening. So good. Thanks for joining us. Glad that you got. It sounded like you guys were pushing right against the limit, getting out of the verdict room over to here. So yeah. Very cool. Thank you for making it a priority to be over here on time and wrapping that up. I appreciate that very much. And all right, let's bring JJ State of the Deep up. How you doing?
What's up, everybody? DA, Robin, Logan,
yo,
Dago and 1-1 backstage, denizens, meatballs, believers, mods. Hope everybody's doing well.
Good we're living the dream. We're living the dream. So anything new and exciting in your world today? I know it's hard to every single day to come up with something new and exciting.
Today was a really beautiful day. Another one. Yesterday was gorgeous here as well.
Yeah, here
took the motorcycle out. I told you earlier for the first time, but it was really, really windy.
Oh yeah.
So when I got on the highway, I was getting blown all over the place. So I really just took a quick spin around town just to get the bike out and just got some stuff done at home. No big excitement. Good day though.
I always wanted to have a motorcycle, not because I thought I would look good on a motorcycle, because I liked the idea of going for rides. Like all these people talk about getting the bike out for the first ride for the season. I'm like, God dang it, that sounds fun. Although I'm not sure I would want to drive past a cow pasture on a bike. Like maybe through a field of flowers, that might be all right. But you smell everything, I think, when you're on a bike. So
and if there's wildfires anywhere,
choking you out.
If there's fires in California, if there's fires in New Mexico or anywhere west of us, we get the smoke from it. So it kind of makes riding shitty because you're basically breathing in all the smoke, but it's great, man. I couldn't, where you live, dude. I mean,
I know there's so beautiful rides. I'm thinking,
I mean, you could take the drone, you could go to like remote areas and do some drone stuff. I'm telling you, man, it's one of the best hobbies I've ever had, man. I'm so thankful that I got into motorcycling.
Very, very cool. Well, I'm envious of you on that, and it's good to have you on the show and getting ready to get this thing kicked off. Dago, you're up. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you. You were on the verdict room as well, running the show over there, and you got yourself over here just in time. So thank you as well.
Of course. Absolutely. No worries.
Good to see you. Any highlights you want to share or anything you want to talk about your day today or?
Nothing too super exciting. I did a show earlier today. Just standard talk. We talked about different things there and then we did the verdict room and talked there too, because like Logan explained, it was a little different. And now I'm here. So
hey, well,
we are here.
Well, hopefully this is not a major obligation. Like I don't want you to feel like this is an obligation to come to the show. So hopefully we'll all just enjoy.
I come here because I enjoy coming here. So
that's beautiful. Beautiful. All right. Well, let's get 1-1, our King of the Clip vampire, on stage, do a monologue for us and kick this sucker off.
Howdy.
He's playing with the soundboard, I think.
I can't hear.
We can't hear anything.
He's doing the Jedi mind trick.
Yeah, this is the most awkward monologue. I'm not getting the telepathic monologue if you're doing a telepathic monologue.
Hi everyone. I'm here for you.
What's going on?
Hello.
Hello.
Good Saturday.
It is Saturday.
Sorry, I was in a little mesmerized.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, you were like frozen shock phase or something there.
Yes. Fifth dimension.
Yeah. What's up in your world today?
Normal Saturday, shopping, gym, jiu-jitsu, running around. I'll be barbecuing after the show. So it's like I think we hit 65 degrees today. It was sunny. It was nice. I had my favorite cigar outside. It was good. I'm tired of the 20-degree weather. So
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you made it, and I'm glad you got. And if I don't know if we have a little delay, I've noticed you've been a little behind on things that I say, so I don't know if you're just in a really reflective, low-key mode, or whether there's a delay of some kind on there. But either way, and if there is a delay, then we're gonna have an awkward silence after I get done talking until you get going. But go ahead and kick us off with the monologue, and we'll get going.
Okay. Should be able to hear. Can you guys hear me fine?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Is it good to be alive in the den on a Saturday?
Always.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Juliana,
Yeah, we don't want
Jackson,
to.
and my beautiful wife. Love you guys. Tonight, we're stepping into something a little quieter, a little more uncomfortable. Not a crime scene, not a timeline, not just evidence, but us. Because tonight we're diving into a topic people think about but don't always say out loud. From courtroom reactions to viral clips to comment sections that move faster than facts, appearance, presence, charisma. They don't just exist in the background, they shape perception quietly, subtly, sometimes decisively. So let's ask it slowly. Do attractive defendants receive more sympathy before a single piece of evidence is understood? Does confidence get mistaken for credibility? And when someone speaks smoothly, looks composed, even charming, are we listening to the fact or responding to the feeling? Because here's where it gets darker. In the age of live streams, TikToks, thumbnails, and true crime turning into content, charisma doesn't just influence juries anymore. It influences audiences. It influences creators, narratives, allegiances. And whether we want to admit it or not, it can influence us. Tonight, we're taking a round table approach, not to attack, not to accuse, but to examine. We'll also touch on Kentucky legal issues surrounding public records and what happens when transparency itself becomes a fight. And then there's the phenomenon, the handsome devil, Wade Wilson, a name that doesn't always arrive with context first, but with image, attention, fascination. So we ask, when does interest become attraction? When does attention become bias? When does storytelling drift from truth? And the question at the center of it all, are we all more influenced than we think? Bring your thoughts, bring your hot takes, bring your questions. This isn't just a discussion, it's a mirror. This is Devil's Advocates. And with that, live from New York, it's Saturday night.
All right. Well, thank you for that intro. And I always love it when you get yourself all of the key points in the heartbeat of the intro. So that's very, very cool.
Thank you, Vanessa, for sending 5 gifted. We have 5 brand new turtles. Thank you so much. Way to start
very
the
cool
show. Yeah,
that is a great way to start the show. It's always a great way. And thank you all for supporting the channels that come on our show and share space with us. We appreciate it very much. As a team, collectively, we really appreciate that. And so, yeah, I wanted to start out just a little conversation. I mean, we probably all have some things we want to talk about, but have any of you watched that Wade Wilson or followed the Wade Wilson story? I don't know if you've watched the documentary, but do you know who Wade Wilson is? Okay. Let me, I'm trying to find
I followed all of that.
You did? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll show on screen real quick just some pictures, because maybe I think a lot of people identify and know who he is once you see a picture of him, because he's very visually, whatever you want to say. I don't want to say stunning, but he's a face that captures a lot of things. Like let's go open a image in a new tab. Let's do this, right? So this guy, this guy, he's pretty boy in a way, despite all the tattoos. I mean, even without his tattoos, he was still pretty attractive. But I mean, he seemed to like got more attractive. It seemed like for some people because of the bad boy attitude and all the tattoos. But this guy, pretty evil dude, just randomly went on a murder spree and killed a couple of women, punched his girlfriend in the face, and then ended up getting turned in by his dad of all people. And the reason that I wanted to bring it up, and again, if you guys know anything about the story, was just the obsessive amount of women that was putting money on his commissary. He got up to like $90,000 in his commissary in no time. Every women all over the country, all over the world, actually, were calling and I wanted to be his wife, wanted to marry him, wanted to come for conjugal visits. You know, they recorded a lot of the stuff, played it on air for people to listen to. People talk about how they're going to bang the hell out of him as soon as he got out of jail. All of them seemingly clueless that he actually did commit the murders and was never going anywhere. But it led me to the thing. They had a jumpsuit Pablo on there, you know, he was a major part of the documentary that I was watching. They kind of covered the YouTube phenomena, and it made me feel a little certain way to talk as a panel about their perceiving about how even when the guy was found guilty, people were still obsessed with him and couldn't accept it. And YouTubers were done. Yeah, he's not guilty. He's still innocent. I will never believe it. And I'm thinking to myself, do people think that we're the same way with Brian Koberger? That despite the fact that he got up and said, I'm guilty, we're all sons of bitches saying he's not guilty. But he doesn't have the right, but he doesn't have the look factor that Wade Wilson has. But I just I want to ask you guys as a panel, do you understand the distinction between refusing to believe Wade Wilson is guilty versus Brian Koberger? And do we make that clear to people or not?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's reasons why. The reasons why we do it is because and it's not that we're doing that. We haven't seen any truth as to the point to or anything that points to Brian Koberger being guilty of this. There's the problem. Wade Wilson had all sorts of evidence against him. Huge difference. These are just people that are obsessed with him because I don't even know why, to be honest with you, especially with all them damn tattoos on his face. But that's the big difference. Big difference. Two separate, like over two different corners, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. And somebody was like, I haven't heard anybody say BK is attractive. That's true. It's not that he's attractive. I guess it was funny because I asked him when we were putting the thumbnail together to put Luigi Mangione. Luigi Mangione is pretty universally accepted as a very attractive male. And Luigi Mangione has gotten the same kind of fanfare that Wade Wilson does. Tons of women who, you know, want to have his children or assistant, that he's the love of their life. When he gets out, they're going to marry him and blah, blah, blah. So it was a better connection with him, but because he hasn't had his trial, that's why I kind of made the connection to BK, because BK was found, well, he accepted a plea deal. And when he did that, like I said, they try to say, even when people heard that he was guilty of the crimes he did, they refused to believe it. And so I think to myself, like, they're going to say the same thing of us, that with BK. Now, I think in Luigi's case, he does have a huge following because of the pretty boy factor. And even Ali Benevento, right, who came on our show as a criminal defense attorney, said, look, if he was an ogre, he wouldn't have this kind of national attention. So the reality is that the pretty factor is playing into why it's national news. But I just thought we were going to talk about that whole thing about what cases rise to newsworthy, and is it more about charisma, some kind of like, look, even in the BK case, it wasn't so much about BK. Maybe it was about the pretty college students, right? They put all those pictures of the pretty girls and all over the place all the time, and all these bikini shots of them, whatever. Like, the pretty factor played in a different way. That was the victims there that got the pretty factor, but it's the pretty factor and the charisma factor that makes cases big. Would you have a disagreement with that? Or?
Well, I was going to say there is a theory. It sort of ties in with this. It's like an evolutionary psychology theory that psychopaths in evolution served the purpose in society because they needed people that could kill, right? For tribal society and warring societies, they needed to have people that would be able to kill for survival. And a lot of theorists say that, or I've heard it numerous times, that there's in our DNA, we have this evolutionary mechanism that some people are drawn to those types of people because, you know, obviously there's a danger factor, but also I'm not saying that they consciously think this, but that it's
Yeah.
part of our evolutionary DNA that the psychopaths played a role. That's why they exist in society, because they actually had a functional role throughout evolution. Now, in modern society, obviously, those traits are not really as useful and practical, but yet those people exist, and that's one theory about why some people might be attracted to killers, which we know there's a long history of people being attracted to these serial killers of especially high profile cases.
Oh my God, yeah. Richard Ramirez, women thought he was like God's gift to women. Ted Bundy, of course. Even people I remember
Yeah.
even reading articles which blew my mind about Jeffrey Dahmer, and he was one of the goofiest looking people I ever seen in my life, but they're talking about how attractive he was. I think it's the mysteriousness behind what they are that attracts people to. I mean, even Brian Koberger's not a bad looking dude in my opinion by any means. I mean, he's just got a big nose. That's really it to look at him from a man's point of view. But I think it's the mysteriousness and the the wild part of what they did that attracts a lot of people to it. Believe it or not, that's my opinion. So,
And I also think that it's to do with their confidence factor. I mean,
yeah.
the way that Luigi and this Wade present themselves is very confident. I mean, Luigi, he plays to the camera all the time whenever he's in court
Yeah,
posing.
yeah.
So he just exudes that kind of charisma. Now, I really haven't seen much about Wade Wilson, so I
Oh,
really don't want to
he
speak
does
to him.
the same thing, Robin. Yeah, he's all
Okay,
about he
so
knows who he is. But think about that. That's a good point,
right.
Robin, because how many people have you heard say, "Oh my God, Tyler Robinson is so sexy"?
Yeah,
Nobody.
no,
Tyler Robinson doesn't project himself in a very confident
no,
light, in my opinion. So therefore, in
no.
turn, there you go.
Right.
I
Because
almost
a lot of times it's about.
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'm just
Finish
going
your
to say
thought.
a lot of times it's about because people are and I will say especially women in a lot of circumstances are attracted to confidence. So
Yeah.
you can be a guy who's not maybe what you could call classically handsome, but if you've got charisma, look at Charles Manson. Okay,
Right.
he was
Right.
not a great looking man,
Right.
but he exuded a certain charisma and confidence, and that's what drew women to him.
Yeah,
So
makes sense. Yeah.
I hate drawing the connection between Wade Wilson and Luigi because I think they're so different of human beings. But where they
yeah,
are similar is Wade Wilson was like insisting on coming in Gucci suits and fucking alligator shoes, and he would have a swagger, a cock swagger when he walked into the courtroom, and he would wink
yep,
at girls, and he would play to the audience. And Luigi's similar. Luigi dresses up for fashion. He's very fashion conscious and how he looks on camera, and he does play to the cameras and gives certain looks that I think he knows damn well are sexy for women and stuff like that. And so,
sure,
but again, completely different kinds of crimes,
yes,
but a similarity in how they present themselves to the public and the perception. But it's not just
right,
it's not just the sex appeal of the killer, because like I said, I feel like the victims are the same way. For example, a Gabby Petito, for example, a pretty blonde gets national attention. A lot of people make the comment, if this had
right,
been, an African-American little girl, you wouldn't give a shit. But if it was a white, pretty blonde, then all of a sudden everybody in the country wants to talk about it, kind of thing. If you're John Benet Ramsey and you're a little blonde, toddler, you're going to get national attention. If you have a pretty factor as a victim or as the killer. So it's not, I mean, I do agree. There's the attraction to the bad boy kind of thing, but it even goes for the pretty factor on the victims as well.
That's
yes, I agree.
something I talked about years ago when I covered the four little African American girls that died in fire.
Oops, sorry. Wow.
Got no attention, media attention, national or local, really at all, except for one piece, and then John Bonet was all over the world. Think about it.
Right.
Yeah, That's an absolute fact, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
Right.
Natalie Holloway.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not even like, I mean, I would like to say, I want to be careful here. I would like to say it's not a racism thing. It's like, it's not the color of your skin so much. I want to say it's more of a who's pretty and who gets but maybe it is also a race factor as well.
Could be a combo.
Yeah, it's I don't know.
Yeah, I think it is a combo. I
is.
agree.
It's a combo. There's definitely.
Mhm.
I mean, there's no way. It's like glaring in the face.
sad.
You have looks are matter. The perception definitely, and if you have so then you take is a white pretty blonde going to get more reach than than maybe a similar age black female. And unfortunately it's very sad, but the truth is yes, it shouldn't be, but they do.
Yeah, and it was a little disturbing watching, like I said, the Wade Wilson. If you haven't watched it, it was a 3-part series, but it was a decent watch. It was just difficult watching because they focused a lot on people's obsession with his looks and his swagger. And from the very beginning, like there was really no part where he never said he didn't do it. He told his dad he did it. He told the cops he did it. He kind of bragged about it several times. They say you would literally see joy on his face, and he wanted people to feel the thrill that they're killing people. And yet people were like, he's innocent. I don't think he did it at all. I'm going to marry him someday. And I'm like, is that just blind ignorance? Because I guess what I'm saying there is it wasn't that they're like, oh, he's such a bad boy, I want him because he's a bad boy, because then you would think they'd be like, yeah, he killed somebody and I think it's sexy. But they were like, no, he's innocent, he didn't do it, and I'm gonna marry him someday. Like, which one is it? Like, is it the bad boy you're attracted to, or
it's probably a combination of the looks and I mean, listen, I'll be honest with you, before the whole tattoo stuff, the dude was a good looking dude. God made that one perfect, you know what I'm saying, as compared to most of us guys. And I've even seen women say, even with all the ridiculous tattoo shit on his face, he still has that perfect man look to him. But but knowing who he is on the inside, all of that exists onto the outside of him as well. I mean, I can't see how anybody could think that guy's hot with all them tattoos on his face. But hey, I think that's where the confidence thing that Robin was talking about comes from, because women are attracted to massive and major confidence in men. I've seen it. So
all of us, I think all of us have done, whether we have a YouTube channel or not, I think all of us have been interested in true crime for quite a while. Can you search your memory banks? Think of and I'm not saying you're not going to find one. I'm just going to say, try to think of a crime that you followed that had massive appeal that didn't have an attractive victim or killer. What comes to your mind as a case that oh yeah, I followed this case and neither the victim or the killer was attractive?
Well, the Murdoch case doesn't really have what's so attractive. I mean,
that's true.
Right. I mean, I know the notoriety and their power is there, but there's not really an attractive.
John Wayne Gacy. That was
John Wayne Gacy, right? He's not. He's not.
That was high profile,
and
that wasn't framed in the same way.
Rex Sherman.
Now, yes. Now, but with those, like John Wayne Gacy, right? He was killing children. Children get a massive appeal when you bring children into it. Now, granted, they kept saying children, but really it was a lot of teenagers, I think.
Yeah.
But they focused on the word children, which got a lot of attention. Rex Sherman. Yeah, that's a good point too. Rex Sherman himself, not an attractive guy. His victims, some of them were.
Eileen Wuornos. Eileen Wuornos, I covered
Wuornos,
her. Not attractive.
She's not attractive, and right. I hate saying that, but she was not attractive at all, right? And that was a high-profile case, right? So so there are cases that reach. It just is an interesting psychological discussion about. So I guess what I'm saying is that we've come up with a good number of things that didn't require any pretty factor. So it's not that you have to have the pretty factor to be newsworthy, but it seems to be in a lot of cases.
But with serial killers tend to draw a lot of attention, right?
Yeah.
So Idaho 4 is not deemed a serial killer, and some of these other cases, but serial killer cases typically, regardless, they do tend to be high profile.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so that was just one of the things I wanted to discuss. I wanted, unless you guys have further thoughts on that, I was also going to share with you a little bit about a Kentucky fight. I wanted to educate some people on public records requests and how that stuff works. I know like several of us have public records request campaigns that we're trying to wage and raise funds for. So I thought this would be an educational moment if you're curious about Kentucky. So I'm going to show you something online here. Let's see. So I was going after, so I've been involved in Kentucky, Letcher County, Kentucky, Whitesburg, Kentucky, for the Mickey Stein shooting, Judge Kevin Mullins in the judges' chambers. And related to that, the Sabrina Atkins versus Ben Fields, the deputy that was abusing women on ankle monitoring system. But as I started to explore that, I started to get into other cases that are mysterious deaths related to odd behavior by law enforcement, such as the Kentucky State Police that were involved in a murder, or they said it was an accident or something like that. A woman that was eaten by dogs. The story out there is that it was not an accident. She was fed to the dogs after she had been hit and basically disabled, and then fed to dogs to kill her off and make it look like an animal attack. And they just ruled it an accident. She died by animals. So I went after the public records in Kentucky. One thing I found is about Kentucky is Kentucky probably makes Idaho look like a choir boy compared to how much they reject people's requests for public records. But we're learning how to fight it. And I want to share this with you guys as a teaching moment, because I like to share with people when I learn something new. So I requested some public records on the death of this Trina Sandlin, who was eaten by dogs, from the Kentucky State Police. They were the primary investigation. And they came back and said, rejected. You don't live in Kentucky. So Kentucky's state says you have to be a resident of Kentucky to get public records. You cannot be but what they fail to mention is in the little tiny, they give a list of you must be a resident of, you must own a company in, they have all these different things. You have to basically be a Kentucky person to get Kentucky records. The last one is an a legal state law that states if you're acting in the capacity of media, then you can request it if it's in the public's interest, and you don't have to be from Kentucky if you're working for the media, sort of. So after they rejected me the first time and wasted my time, so they're like, nope, you don't live in Kentucky. I had to remind them of the law, the Kentucky law that says media are allowed to get this when they're working in the active public interest, and I'm a YouTube channel. They rejected me again today, stating that we don't recognize YouTube as media. Now, my first thought was, this is a constitutional issue. The United States Constitution does not designate who's allowed to be media and who's not allowed to be media. There's no such thing as state-sponsored media where CNN's allowed to be media, but you're not allowed to, because that would be showing favoritism, and the government then could choose who's media and say who's fake news. I know we have certain people who tell people all the time who's fake news and not fake news, but it's a constitutional issue. So I thought about fighting it that way. But I wanted to show you this letter on the screen. So what they said was, and this is where I learned a lot of states are like Kentucky, where they're outdated. And so what they said is, our law in Kentucky revised statutes or whatever, says that a news gathering organization must be a newspaper or periodical that publishes at least 52 times a year and contains about 25% news and so, or a television station that's licensed with the FCC. And again, these should be constitutional issues. You shouldn't have to be registered with the FCC. You shouldn't have to be a print organization. You shouldn't have to have a magazine. But when I asked AI about some explanation of this, they said, yeah, Kentucky's outdated. All of their laws talk about back when you had print newspapers and print magazines, and they don't recognize, they haven't brought into the digital age the fact that YouTubers are on the internet, and they're like, we don't care. You have to be a print magazine, and you have to be a print magazine in Kentucky, or you have to be a print magazine that's national, that covers news. And so they gave me their appellate organization or argument, saying that the appellate courts have upheld repeatedly that if you don't have a newspaper or whatever, you can't get records. Simply publishing videos, whether you're a YouTuber or on Facebook, does not turn you into an individual newspaper or magazine under our act. So because I can't say I'm a newspaper or a magazine, they're rejecting me. And I was pretty pissed off about this. But here's where the educational moment comes. What I learned was, here's how the game is played. I can become a Kentucky entity by forming an LLC inside Kentucky. So like I've got a LLC right now, right? Devil's Advocates Group LLC. So I can create Devil's Advocates Group Kentucky LLC and form a LLC inside Kentucky. And then I am a Kentucky entity and I can request public records all day long. And in fact, I've been told that's what journalists do. That's what newspapers do. That's what all these places do. They just form a company inside the state and say, well, I am a resident of the state. Here's my company. That's, and you pay your fee. So that's how the game's played, people. So we are in the process of becoming a company inside Kentucky so that we can get public records to play the game. But I thought it was a cool educational moment because, again, really, honestly, I feel like there's a constitutional issue. They shouldn't be able to tell you who's media and who's not media. And they certainly shouldn't be playing by archaic standards of if you don't print your newspaper, then you're not real news. But that's what they're doing and that's what they're getting away with. So I don't know. So I thought I'd share that with you guys as a conversation, possibly. I don't know if you want to have a conversation about it, but for what it's worth, I wanted to teach people some things.
It's interesting for sure. Something interesting to know for future reference too. So how hard is it to become the LLC? Do you just fill out paperwork, put an address down and move forward or what?
Yeah, I can apparently I can be an LLC in Kentucky in about 24 hours. So I go online. I pay I think I pay $40 to become an LLC in the country. Now here's the kicker. You have to have an address for your company inside. But there's ways to obtain that legally and ethically as well. So that's an extra cost. But the LLC forming is actually it happens within 24 hours. It'll be approved as a company inside Kentucky within 24 hours. So that's good.
Very cool. There you go, folks.
Yeah. So that's how you play the game, I guess. But
yeah, and it's in this day and age, it's I would argue that a very large percentage of people nowadays get their information from online sources that are not,
this is where the news comes from. Yeah,
regulated by the FCC. It's just, they don't want to acknowledge that because obviously they would have to provide a lot more information to the public, which they clearly are not interested in doing.
We were talking too, Robin and I were talking about this, and I don't expect the panelists to weigh in too much, and I don't want to shame anybody. That's not the intention of this. But one of the things Robin and I were saying is it kind of sucks in a way that we've been going after all these public records, for example, in Idaho. And I know Lana's going after the public records in Idaho. And I know Pov's going after the records in Idaho. And I know, Phoenix is going after the public records. Logan's going after the public records. And the bad part, and Dago's going after the public records. And the problem is, and again, I don't know that we need to have a discussion about it per se, but the problem is none of us are checking with each other what we've already done, so we don't have to double and triple our efforts. Now, on the one hand, I think to myself, well, maybe it's good that 30 people asked for the same thing because it puts pressure on them, and so they might be able to duck it 20 times. Maybe after the 30th time, somebody got the right wording and it comes through. But I wished, in a way, we could better coordinate our efforts and share the information, because once it's been obtained, I'd like to get that information out there. Now, I understand as a YouTube channel and whatever that when you get information, you want to not be scooped by your own stuff. You did all the work, you did the late work, you put in the paper, you fought and you appealed and you got the records, and then you go make it available on a drive, and then 30 people just did 3 hours of recordings about stuff that you haven't even looked at, and you're the one that fought to get it. I get that. I get that pain point, but how do we better coordinate, it seems like, so that we can share this information? I'm working on that in my mind.
I think like people like Jules, when she got all the 1112 audio video stuff, she put it in a Google Drive to where you can go to her channel and pull it. Lana has done the same thing. And I, anything I've gotten, I've shared within my channel and my description. Senior Wardowski shares his stuff. Kim has done the same thing by sharing her stuff, and typically unique. I think Logan shares hers sometime as well when she has info that she puts out there too. So other than that, I think that's pretty much the best way to do it. I don't know if there is a better way, honestly, but that's how I would see it.
Yeah, and along that line,
the thing is that the more we share and the more we get stuff out there, to me, the better, because maybe something that one person does will spark something else for another person, and they're going to get more information on another piece. It's like every piece we get adds to the total picture. and can further our understanding of what's going on, and maybe, who knows, lead to some sort of a breakthrough.
Right.
I still think you should contact Thomas Massey.
I know. It's on our list. Yeah.
Because he is more responsive than I've ever seen anybody in Congress be when people reach out to him, say on X. You know, he seems to be someone that values the Constitution. And someone posted in the chat, First Amendment. If their distinction is a violation of the First Amendment, it can be overruled, right? Yeah. And that is a direction that we all need to go, because there have been very, very persistent attacks on the Constitution, and any state, any local authority can say whatever they want. They can have their statutes and their local laws and things, but if those laws are in violation of the Constitution, they can be challenged. And if you can get a hold of Thomas Massey or his office and say that you believe that this is a violation of the First Amendment, then all it would take is for him to make a few calls if he believed that was happening. And the stuff going on in Kentucky is high profile. Yeah. That might be enough, because there's a lot of talk about him running for president and being generally responsive already. It might be a cause he's willing to support.
Yeah, and I agree that's worth doing, and I think we're going to pursue that. The problem is that I feel like it's a little bit of an uphill battle, because the appellate courts in Kentucky have continually upheld Kentucky's argument that they don't have to do it. So it's already been challenged. From what I understand, it's been challenged as a constitutional violation over and over again, and it's been upheld by their appellate courts over and over again as so what. So it's an uphill battle unless you can get the right person who actually has pull to say, hey, you need to stop that bullshit.
Thomas Massey.
Right.
And also, this is an issue that is very significant across all content creators and all independent media. It's a much broader issue. First Amendment violations. Now, Kentucky may not acknowledge anything in the appellate courts, but if it's a wide enough and broad enough issue to be, I know I'm getting grandiose here, but if it were to be, get to the Supreme Court because it is a First Amendment violation, that changes the game.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I agree, and that was my first thought was to fight it on a First Amendment violation. Like you can't decide who's media and who's not media. That's a violation of the Constitution, freedom of speech, and stuff like that. But like I said, I was kind of told that's going to be an uphill battle because they've been fighting it in the appellate courts, and it's an ongoing thing. And Kentucky's not the only state. Like there's multiple states that have this same kind of thing where they haven't modernized. They're not recognizing YouTube as media. They're not recognizing Facebook as media, and because they've got old, antiquated laws. And again, that's one of the problems. I mean, in America, for those who don't understand American law, we're in this weird thing where the states a lot of times act independently of the federal government. So it requires something big for the federal government to step in and tell all the states what they have to do. Most of the time our government is set up where the states are allowed independently to decide what are the rules in my state.
Yeah.
And states tend to not like the federal government to come in and tell them what they need to do in their state.
Right. So look what they have done with marijuana. I mean,
right.
New York, it's legal. It's still not legal under the federal government.
Right. Sausage Biscuit says that they will help us. They're a Kentucky resident. So,
yes. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that for a moment. I 100%, that is a legal and ethical way to do it. If you have somebody who lives in Kentucky and is willing to say, I'm a Kentucky resident, we can file on behalf using your address. The one caveat, and I was talking to Robin about this just before the show. Here's the problem we have. I want to follow the story where we think the story needs to go. And I don't want somebody pulling their, well, I'm going to stop providing my address for you to use if you don't cover it this way, or I don't like the way you're going with that story. So we were thinking it might be required for us to just do it our own way so that we don't have somebody controlling what we're saying. Because we were afraid if we use a Kentucky resident, then that Kentucky resident will be like, well, I'm going to stop letting you use me this way because I don't like where you're going with the story. And we want to have the freedom to go where the story goes and be, so I don't, and I'm not saying you would do that, Sausage, because we were thinking that's the cheaper route for us. It's the much cheaper route for us to use a Kentucky resident. But then we feel like we're controlled by the Kentucky resident who will only play ball with us as long as the story goes in the direction they want it to go. So
now the other thing to that, Sausage Biscuits, is you would have to understand that we may be filing hella shit. So it would depend on how much you are willing to kind of deal with, because if we're filing, document after document, there could be a big volume there depending on what we're after at the time.
Plus,
so that is another consideration.
And one of the things I might be worried about with doing something like that, especially for Sausage, is a harassment thing as well. That's more what I would worry about than anything. Is that person possibly getting harassed, or even threatened at that point if they know that they're doing something like that. That's what I'd be more worried about than anything. Truly,
we know what's going on in those areas, and
we've run into that. We have ladies in Kentucky who are telling their stories, but they have been afraid to let us use their address because they're afraid the cops will start coming by their house and harassing them and arresting them and threatening them, saying, drop your shit right now. So, I get it why they're afraid, because the whole part of the problem is we're talking about potential corrupt law enforcement. So the last thing they want to do is law enforcement coming around harassing them and pulling them over for everything to intimidate them into stopping working with the YouTube channel.
That's they will down there.
Yeah, and that's my biggest worry. I'm not even worried about them not wanting to work with it the way we do it, or it's just I'm scared that somebody could get hurt, harassed.
That's why we want to
absolutely.
Yeah, that's my biggest fear.
Thanks for the.
They can fight even if it's a Kentucky resident. They could turn around and find some other statute. And
they usually do
to deny it, because corruption is corruption. I mean, how many things are we seeing in the world in the last 10 years that are pretty blatantly corrupt, but yet who's going to fight it, right? Who has the money and the resources to really push back? Well, people do have the ability to do it, but we don't think we do. And society tends to, follow the path of least resistance. And so they put up walls, and it's an effective way to hide corruption.
Yes.
Through bureaucracy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I absolutely appreciate that, Sausage. And it's something that I'm sure we'll all talk about at some point, separately, if it comes down to that, for sure. Yes.
I do want to say for Sausage, I don't know Sausage Biscuit very well, but I will say this. I might want to take you up on the offer because we could start immediately. If we had an address, we could start immediately. And a lot of their stuff they reply to in email, so we could even give them our email address. I would just need to visit. But again, maybe we should have that talk. So I do encourage you to reach out to me if you're willing to help us at contact@devilsadvocates.info. And if you're willing to help us with that, send me an email and we'll talk it over and make sure you're aware of what risks it means to you and what it means to us, and maybe we'll continue to pursue forming an LLC and getting a business there because it can be done quickly. But it's nice to have options. I love options, so give me an option. I would love that. I appreciate it very much.
Right. Did you have anything else with that, Lee? Because there was a piece of info I learned today that I thought was quite interesting.
Yeah, go ahead.
I kind of wanted to discuss tonight. Logan brought it up in the verdict room thing earlier when we were talking, and I don't know why I never heard this before. But it blew she blew me away with this. So I'm sure you guys know who Miss Potts is. You've seen her in my channel. She has her own channel. She does a lot of stuff. She's amazing. So Miss Potts has been trying to file to get federal federal documents, this and that and all that from the beginning. When it all started being able for us to do that kind of stuff, okay? And we make jokes about it, like her love letters from the FBI. She's tried multiple times. Well, and if you don't mind, Logan, I'm going to turn over to you so that way I don't mess up the wording on it. But what exactly, when she sent the most recent stuff out, trying to get stuff, what exactly was her response to that again, Logan? And listen to this, you guys. This blew me away.
So it was actually somewhere around maybe 2-3 months ago. Miss Potts FOIA'd information. She was just asking kind of general stuff about Brian Koberger. And the response that she got from the FBI was that they cannot give her information on anybody that's involved with Witsac, NatSec, confidential informant, or anything along those lines. And she was like, what do you mean? I was just asking for information on Brian Koberger. So what are you talking about?
It's funny. It's funny you mentioned that. Maybe Dago, you forgot, but I got the same letter, and I talked about it on our show. That's what they said. Witsac on my. I got the same letter from the FBI.
Did you? I did. Then.
Yep.
And they talked, and we had the same reaction. Like, really, are you? Because they even say in the letter very carefully, this does not mean that this falls under this, but some of the reasons why we can reject it is so that's the caveat that on the letter I got. They weren't saying they were rejecting it because Brian Koberger or anyone was in Witsac. What they said was, we're rejecting this, and of the reasons why we're rejecting it, it could be for any of the following. But they weren't admitting, what they weren't doing is they weren't going to nail down which one it was because they can't.
Yeah.
Right? So it was cleverly worded. It was like,
yeah.
we're rejecting it because here's some of the reasons we can reject it. One of which is that they're in Witsac or somebody's in Witsac and whatever. And then we were like, well, isn't that interesting that you're citing Witsac as one of the reasons why you can block answering it? But and they even admitted. Real quick, let me finish that before I forget. I remember what it was for. I asked them to tell me how they discovered the Elantra, suspect vehicle 1, and how they identified the year of the vehicle, and whether or not they looked into and whether any discussion took place about fog lights on Brian Koberger's car. Their letter response was very interesting. That it said this: yes, we have that information, but no, we won't give it to you because of these possible reasons. Somebody's in Witsac, somebody's whatever, and we don't have to answer. So they admitted they had it. They had the information I was asking for, but they wouldn't give it to me.
But maybe why is it only when people request stuff on Brian Koberger or his stuff?
I think that's a weird, like, there could have been a completely different response. Okay. They could have just said, we can't do this because of this, or that, but that's the response they give. Privacy or something else. That's just an odd response. I'm sorry. It just blows me away.
Well, one of the things that I had talked about, I'm sure I talked about it on here a while ago, is that if there were CIs involved in that house, right?
Yeah.
Then conceivably, especially if they didn't become CIs to get out of trouble, like they were part of that operations that were going on related to trafficking. And if they were working as a CI, then they would, I'm assuming, I don't know this for sure, that they would have to have some type of an extraction plan if they knew that their CIs were in danger. So Witsac could have been involved, not saying that they were extracted, but they could have had, mechanisms in place in case they needed to do that.
Right. It was. I got the same reaction. I was like, "What the hell are you listing?" Witsac as a reason why you won't respond.
Yeah, it was weird.
Even weirder was, we have the information you're asking for, but no, we're not going to tell you about it. It was super. I was trying to find the letter for you that I could pull it up, my copy of the letter. But again, we talked about this recently. My organizational skills need some work. And so I was going to pull up the actual letter. I showed it on air. I remember showing it and highlighting the sections. They said we had a long discussion about it, but I don't remember how long ago that was. Seems like it was quite a while ago. But yeah, super interesting. And if it was a Witsac thing, it leads to the question. And again, it doesn't have to be Koberger, right? So let me, because like that's what Logan was asking. Well, why is it when it's relation to Koberger? Well, because in my logic, remember we talked about whether an officer said, I don't know if you know this, but one of the victims is a CI.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So if there was a confidential informant in the house, and I think, by the way, it wasn't just Witsac. Confidential informant was one of the reasons why they cannot answer you. So if that confidential informant who was a victim,
I do remember. Okay.
Right. Then anything related to the murders, including anything related to the suspect, is going to all fall into, sorry, it involves a confidential informant. And so we can't tell you.
So, okay. I do remember, and I'm sorry. Multiple conversations had. But here's the thing. It's interesting to me that this keeps happening to multiple people. They keep sending back the same reply. Okay.
Yeah.
And at this point, we also, again, I think I said this before, there is a national security label on top of this case that's been put out there. Okay. So between the national security labeling, the informant situation we've heard about, the responses people are getting when they're requesting documentation on this, all of that together, throw that into the pot and stir it up. There's something not right. There's definitely something that is a governmental, a deep governmental situation going on, in my opinion. Of course, this is just an opinion, and at this point, I can't step too far back from it and say, well, maybe not, because I can't. And I found something else out today too that I was going to delve into that Tomboy threw at me because of some connections she has. Let me throw this at you guys and see what you think, because it's very hard to believe, but knowing where the source was is what gives me more comfort with it. But it made some other things pop up to me in my mind. So if I were to tell you that law enforcement knew who Brian Koberger was by November 15th of 2022, what would you say?
I would say because he was working for the feds, and that's why they knew who he was.
Yeah.
Okay, there's one option, okay? But, and then Twiz came right behind her and posted in a chat earlier too and said, well, what if they knew who Brian was before the murders even happened?
Yeah.
Right.
Which is in an interesting situation. And I don't have trouble believing that they knew who Brian was by November 15th. It's really not that hard to believe, knowing what we know. I mean, granted, it's a reach, but like I said earlier, we have to step outside the box because we've been stuck in this box too long, and there's too much that we can't reach now. So the point is November 15th of 22 is 2 days after the murder. It took them 9 fucking days to process the crime scene alone. There's no way that they could have found out who this kid was by doing it the right way, which means there was something else going on beforehand, in my opinion, already. And we know that there was a task force there investigating different things. We know that his teacher from Pennsylvania referred him to WSU. We know that Brian did interviews with Pullman and or WSU police. All of those things in a bowl of wax became very interesting to me recently, as I'll say.
I had the same conclusion a long time ago, which is that the FBI got onto Koberger illegally and then told, and this was almost stated in word for word, I don't have the document in front of me, told Moscow Police Department, go do some real police work. This is the name you need to figure out. Go figure out how to make the connection. They knew who the guy was, but they couldn't reveal how they knew who the guy was because they violated a constitutional right. That's what I believe. They violated his constitutional rights. They got the information. They were convinced they had the right guy, but they said, you need to go do real police work now. Here's the guy. Now go make the case. And so the problem with that, of course, is that's not how it's legally done, which is the reason why the FBI wanted no part of actually prosecuting it, because they would have to admit they did something illegal to get the guy's name in the first place. So that's the catch-22 I think they got themselves in. They got his name illegally, and they didn't want to have to admit how they got it.
But here's a question that I have for everybody. What are the chances that there were CIs in the house? Oh, and also everything about the way they got to the main suspect and the person that they ultimately arrested is also super shady. So the way that I look at it is again what we always say, there's too many things that don't add up. So yes, you could say the framed angle, of course, but also with the consideration of the multi-agency task force, with the consideration that by what most of us believe there was at least one CI working in that house. We all, I think here, believe that they shifted the timeline, right? because
there's no doubt.
Yeah,
definitely.
If they had to, if Koberger was already working in some way, shape, or form, whether it was through WSU funding or whatever, on a federally funded program that had to do with this kind of stuff, then shit goes sideways, right? And there's a lot of blowback and collateral damage. They have to shift the timeline for multiple reasons we've all talked about. There was law enforcement there at certain times and so on. They needed to bring somebody in, it's just my theory, to work as an operative and okay, we're going to introduce this guy to the public. So here he is. Oh, and let's pull him over twice and he doesn't get a ticket, but it shows the white Elantra to the public. Oh, here's this weird guy, awkward guy, and oh, look at the white Elantra. They pull him over twice. He doesn't get a ticket either time. In my opinion, they had to cover their tracks because shit went sideways and they didn't want that part to get out to the public. So that is my part of the basis of why I believe he was working with somehow. I'm not saying he was a federal agent, but he could have been working as part of some of the funding and operations that were going on in that area. He could have been brought there for that very reason.
He did go away for a period of time, Joe, that his dad and parents and nobody knew where Brian Koberger was for a period of time, which could have been a training period that he was doing something special for what his skills were. And I even had something to add to that when you were done. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. I agree with you 100%. It's that is a really suspicious thing in and of itself, like Luigi, right? And so so here's my question to you guys. What do you think the chances are that it's totally unrelated and Koberger really is just weird guy and they decided to frame him versus he was working with those agencies. He was a PhD candidate in criminology with a education in cloud-based forensics, right? That is the stuff the feds are all in on now. And there's billions of dollars going into that stuff. And so, in my opinion, to go one step further, and then I'll let you guys, tell me what you think. The whole predictive policing and Othram swoops in and they're the heroes. They get this guy's profile from a tiny speck of touch DNA and they're the big heroes. Oh, and by the way, we're going to use Othram in every police force around the country. And oh, by the way, they're trying to shove them down the public's throat now, along with predictive policing and domestic surveillance tactics. So stuff goes squirrely. I don't believe for a second that the whole Othram and the predictive policing stuff was an afterthought. They were probably already implementing that stuff in that area if there was a multi-agency task force there. So I don't know. I just would like to get your take on all that.
What I was going to add to that, excuse me. Well, firsthand,
real quick
Logan
for that. Thanks for the new member here, by the way, real quick too. Thank you.
Oh yeah, of course. Sorry about that. Logan, Robin, did you guys have anything to add to what he said before I go into what I was going to say? I don't want to step on anybody.
Go ahead.
No?
Yeah, no, okay. Go ahead.
So I know, and I've just been thinking about this over the past 24 hours. Okay. And then this kind of put the icing on the cake for me. So we've talked about Brent Copaka a lot. Okay. Lee's looked into him pretty deep. I know I did years ago, but Lee's really been on it. There's different things and there's too many coincidences in this case that just don't make sense. And we know that there was that task force on the ground that was combined with the FBI, the DEA, so on and so forth. And who else? Who knows? Homeland Security had an involvement here. We had the Secret Service involved at some point. There's multiple agencies that came into this investigation like that. They just don't appear out of nowhere. And usually it takes quite a period of time to bring these types of people in. There's a national security label on this. And the agencies they brought into this investigation when it happened are odd to me. Very high ranking agencies is weird for a murder. I'll just say that. But what if Brent and Brian were working in some aspect, doing something together. Okay. And something went sideways with this. And the problem was we can't have anybody talking on this. So unfortunately, Brent was a loose cannon. We know that because of his medical history, things like that. Something went wrong with him. So he was taken out, unfortunately. And Brian, because of who he was, ends up being the person that goes down for this. I mean, I know this is a reach. I know this is out there, but again, like I said, guys, I'm stepping out of the box because nothing inside this box makes any sense. So, what if is all I'm saying? It would be very interesting. Department of Homeland Security, Tomboy just said, put a national security tag on the FOIA that Tandy sent in. So there again, it makes you wonder. Is all I'm saying. I feel like I think we all thought it goes higher and higher than we all believed it could. Okay, because of everything we've seen. But truly and honestly, how high does it really go? Who all is possibly involved? And then that is where the why factor comes back in and goes, what the actual hell would make this be what this is at this point, is all I'm saying.
Right.
I have so many things I want to say. I pinned a comment up real quick. Did you want to comment on that, Logan, or whatever, before I get into this? Because I feel like I'm going to go in a different direction, and I don't want to derail the conversation. I'm stacking up comments, that's all.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Real quick, somebody had said, I wish somebody would put together how to file a public records request. I absolutely have this on my list to do, and I'm going to fast track this. I want to do a course, a YouTube course that you can step through on how to create public records requests, how with the nuances of how to go to different states, what kind of blowback you're going to get, how to track your FOIA requests. I'm going to do a course like that. I've had a passion to teach people, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to do a course. So thank you for reminding me, and I'll make it a priority to do that course of videos for people that you can watch and walking you through that.
Can I just add that I have looked up different ways to do it, and I've done super professional requests that have all the information and and I've been denied for them, and I've sent over requests that are like, hi, can I have XYZ? And I've gotten a response with on prices. So there's not technically, I don't think, a specific way to do it, but it can work either way.
Yeah. Well, I'll do my course and I'll share my thoughts on that. I agree with you, and it's not necessarily a formula, but I think I can still teach people a lot, I think, on that. So
yeah, absolutely.
For those who want to do that. Also, real quick, this comment, Felicia, I just got and checked that mail. If what you showed me, what I see on screen, holy effing piss. If you just sent me what I think you sent me, I'm not going to show it on screen right now because I need to vet it.
Wow.
But, oh my God. If that's an authentic thing you just sent me, that is insane. So thank you. I don't want to show it to the public.
Wow.
How close is that to the Poconos?
Very close. Williamsport is very close. It's about like an hour and a half, maybe. Yeah, north. Yeah. So very close.
What I've got on screen, and again, I don't want to suggest that the person's sending me a fake document on purpose. What I'm saying is I need to vet certain things. For example, what she just sent me was apparently a lease agreement. Brent Copaka's signature is on it on an address in Pennsylvania. So for all those people who say Brent never lived in Pennsylvania, if I can verify that's Brent's signature and it's on a piece of paper saying he's got a lease and it's got his address in Pennsylvania, I just got the fucking connection I've been asking for a year straight. But again, I need to do double checking, kind of see his signature on other things, make sure it's his signature, all those things, and double check that. But that would be enormous. So yeah,
they could go eat crow.
Right. So before I tell everybody to eat a dick or crow, thank you. You've been waiting for that. That's amazing. Thank you.
Does anybody have any thoughts on what I just said by any means, or no? Does it sound too much or what?
Well, I've been saying all along, I agree with you. I've said it goes up the ladder for a very long time. I've been saying that there's too many things. And I think most of us have agreed on this. Too many things that are suspicious that have Fed fingerprints on them.
what I was mean, and I agree with you, but like as far as maybe Brian and Brent being brought in together and corralled into doing something together as some kind of a special op or something, I don't know. And that's what I was asking. Like, any thoughts on that, or does that sound too much to you guys?
No,
I mean,
I think it's very possible. I mean,
Yeah.
look, I mean, you would have two guys who would have different angles to or different roles within an operation like that. I mean, you've got Brent, who it's not that he was not an intelligent individual, but think of it like the brains and the brawn. Okay, there
That's
a
what I
lot of
mean.
times with operations
Yeah.
you have people in those different roles. You have someone who is strategy, intellect,
Yeah.
that kind of thing, knowledge. You have the other person who may be that kind of the physicality part of it. So to me, I don't believe that that's out of the realm of possibility. I mean, right now, like you're saying, Dago, we have to consider more than just if we're going to get anywhere, we may have to look at some stuff that is out of the box, like you're
And
saying.
let me add to that too, Robin, that at some point we had found out that Chief Fry had gone for some training at Quantico. And then I came to
Right?
find out not too long ago that Anthony Dollinger, who is now chief,
Yes.
graduated from an FBI training program after the fact. What is going on, guys, with all this
Yeah.
FBI shit? Okay, that's my
They're
question,
furthering
and all
their
this
career
other stuff.
off of this shit.
Right.
They're playing ball. I
I
mean,
mean,
obviously.
there's a lot of this. Something's going on, is all I'm telling you.
Hmm.
In my and I don't care what anybody says. You have to look at all these outside things, and I feel it all comes back to one specific point at some point, obviously, too. They're doing something in this area, and they have all these people brought in, and something went wrong. And that's what I believe
Yeah.
this is. Something went wrong, and that's what this entire cover up is probably about, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They couldn't let the world see what happened here, and that's just what I think. Something went
I agree.
wrong, and now here we sit trying to figure out what the hell this is all about.
Right.
Well, they've been trying to expand the powers of national level law enforcement and intelligence. So, all this predictive policing and a lot of the programs that the government has gotten behind that, for example, everybody's heard of Palantir at this point in time. Well, Palantir was originally a CIA contractor. They were funded by
Right.
InQtel. InQtel was the funding branch of the CIA. That's who I believe, I'm not positive because there's a lot of information, but Facebook was also funded by InQtel initially, and Palantir was. So all these organizations that have become these massive surveillance related contractors for the government, they started out by being funded by intelligence, and they're trying to expand that. We know this, right? The government is all behind it. So if seeing the FBI get their paws into local law enforcement doesn't surprise me at all. And I've mentioned that Koberger probably recently that I thought it's very possible he could have been working in some sort of an operation in that area, and that's what brought him to the area. And people say, oh, well, he was discharged from the military because of traumatic brain injury and stuff. Well, we've heard he was an IT guy. Well, what does intelligence deal with nowadays? It's all tech related.
Right.
And Brian Koberger is cloud-based forensics. Put that together, it's the same thing, So,
right.
yeah.
So
Right.
I mean, DA and I were there. We saw how close together they could have been living, and right behind. Now we didn't really dig into this that much, but we did a little bit on the live stream. SEL is a technology company right behind where they lived.
Yeah.
And look how
That's
close
pretty
they're
big.
living, Joe. Look how close they're living, Joe.
Yeah.
Could it, and knowing where Brent was staying in that apartment there, could they have been put there on purpose? So close?
Right.
Sure.
Brent had a
Yeah.
different address too. Like, here, you need to be here, and then throw in. I'm sorry, I don't mean to jump on anything, but if I don't say this, I'll forget it. Throw in the witness account of Brian sitting on the stairs of his apartment complex, kind of having words with somebody at some point.
Right.
Biker guy, tattoo guy, whatever the hell it is. I don't know who it was.
Yeah.
And the way that conversation's going, Brian didn't know that many people, so it makes you wonder. You know what I mean? Just saying.
Yeah.
Right. And
Sorry.
let's also not forget that WSU is involved in a lot of government research projects. So therefore, that's also something that would be right up Brian's alley.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
So I mean, even if he wasn't quote unquote fed or whatever, he could still be fed adjacent or like you're saying, a private contractor or something.
Yeah.
Their criminology department's one of the biggest, one of two of the largest in the entire country, folks. Think about what goes on.
Yeah, it's a big one.
They use they use a lot of student criminology students to do criminology things. I'll just put it that way. So
yeah, WSU is a big criminology area. That's why Koberger came out there. That's why there was government funding sent to WSU.
Yep.
I mean,
when we were there,
just because he has autism or whatever issues he has, that doesn't mean
anything.
You know, people are like, oh, he wouldn't be able to, because I've seen people, you know, complain and whatever. Oh, he wouldn't be able to pass the FBI academy and whatever. That might be true.
Have the wrong idea. About autism. Very many people who are autistic can focus in. It's like a lot of people with ADHD. We kind of sometimes have superpowers and we can focus in and we can see things that maybe other people don't. Autism does not equal lower IQ. Sometimes just the exact opposite.
My son is the perfect example. They find their niche. My son is a musical genius. He plays. And mind you, he's only taken lessons in school band to play the saxophone. He plays the piano, both bass and a regular guitar, the drums, the saxophone, the trumpet, the harmonica. He sings like a bird. He can write songs. He all of this stuff. And I never taught him any of that. It just happened.
Right.
So
autism,
well, it makes you open to whatever you find an interest in. You are like a magnet.
Yeah.
For it, okay.
Well, that's my point. That's why the FBI or whatever, like whatever, you know, group or whatever they were trying to do, he may have such a specialized skill that it doesn't matter about, oh, he can't pass the FBI academy or this or that. Who cares? That doesn't mean anything. If he has a skill or a talent that they could use for their research or whatever their operation is, you don't think that they're gonna use him? He might not be called.
If he scored high on certain tests,
exactly.
They're going to look at him immediately, like right there. And I would really love to see. Everybody was talking about wanting to see everybody's phone. I want to see Brian's phone. I want to see what's in his phone and who he's and see. Remember how they were saying he was erasing and deleting his stuff in his all of his electronics?
Yes.
Think about that for a minute. Why would somebody do that? Other than to hide things from other people. If you're not doing it for a vindictive reason, you're doing it because maybe you're supposed to do that. Any transmissions you have between things, once you've used it, you know, not to be funny, but you know, Mission Impossible, burn this after reading type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, that way nobody knows, nobody can hack into your shit and see what information you have and stuff like that. So, just saying.
You're speaking my language, man.
Yeah,
I know. I can see your ears sticking up.
If if that connection is authentic, with Copaka, I mean, then you have Copaka.
That's going to be huge.
Actually living in Pennsylvania. What are the chances that him and BK both from not far in Pennsylvania, and they both wind up over there?
Right.
I would be willing to do boots on the ground. I'm only about an hour and a half away from there.
Oh, that's right.
Wow.
That's right.
I could probably do something too, because I think I'm about 3 hours max.
We can meet up, Dago. We can meet up.
Yeah, it's right there.
Well,
I think
not
we got
that
a
far
couple
from
other
Pennsylvania either. I may have to
come
guns blazing.
Oh man, that'd be awesome.
What I've been doing, and I probably need to just freaking not do this. Is I've been desperately trying to go. So I had put in a FOIA and gotten quite a bit of records from Brent Copaka's military service. So I was looking for any military form that Brent actually signed.
So you
with his
have
signature to compare.
you have a lease lead that is possibly signed by Brent Copaka in Pennsylvania, and right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And
in
you
his
just have to
in his
verify it, right?
yeah, it's got the address on it. It's got the lease agreement. It's got the address, and it's got 3 signature, of which one of them is Brent Copaka.
So now we got to find,
and it's in the right,
something
and
else
it's in the
that has
right time
signature,
frame
right?
too.
Yeah. Okay. I was just saying you just need to verify it to make sure of it, so on and so forth. Right.
I'll be right
Yeah,
back,
yeah,
guys.
yeah.
I'll be right
Like
back.
I said, I don't want to be the jackass on thing that made a big deal out of it and say there's his signature and go like that's not even close to his signature. You know, 'cause-
Right.
And here's the problem
Right.
though. Here's the problem. He had a brain injury. Is his signature the same after a brain injury than it was before this brain injury? Actually, I think so. You know, like
Willie.
so. Here you go. And like, anyways, we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, we'll find out. It's
Yeah.
it's worth at least looking at, if not at the very least. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it can't hurt because, and like I said, I have no problem with doing some boots on the ground stuff. I'm right
Yeah.
here. I'm right
Yeah.
here. So
For that
Yeah.
matter, Willie's in here. He lives there. He knew Brian. He lives in the same area. They went to the same school. So
there you go.
I know he was sick for a while, but he's in here, and I just seen him pop in the chat. So at some point, maybe I can get
Right.
him to go drive around and look at this if you feel like it. You know what I mean? So just,
Yeah. At a minimum, what I want to do is I'd love to have one of you guys drive by the address that I have. There's an address, or I'd like to get
Sure.
an image of the house. And one of the reasons why I want to get an image of the house. Do you guys remember? It seems like it was years ago. Drip Drop from Crime Circus showed
Yeah.
a house and said, "This is where Brent
Yeah.
lived." I want to see
Yes.
if it's the same house. I'd love to see if it's the same house.
Yeah, I do
But,
too.
But anyways, yeah.
absolutely. I mean, it like I said, folks, almost 4 years, and I'm sorry to say it like this, but it's time to step outside the box. And and Willie just said, "Let me know." He's always down to see it. He's always down to do something to help, and he's been doing that left and right. So that's Truth Nation Uncensored that just came in here. Anyway, like I said, he's been sick. Just let him know. That's all we got to do. So
Yeah,
there it
real
is.
quick, Robin, if you can put our address up there, contact@devilsadvocates.mco. Anybody wants to help out with the Pennsylvania boot on the ground kind of thing. And again, maybe Robin can jump in a car or like anybody, but
Sure.
but I want to do a little vetting. Like I said, before we get,
Yes, of course.
maybe we're putting the cart before the horse because we need to verify.
No.
But it's interesting. I've never been this close to having that definitive piece. And look, like, wouldn't it feel good? Because like, you know how many times I've been yelled at, like, you're a fucking idiot. That guy was never there. And I'm like, well, I can put his
Same
mom
as I
there.
have
I don't
been.
give a shit. He's not from there. Like, well, his mom's there. I don't care. All right, whatever.
This is the only way we're going to get anywhere, folks, is if we all work together
right.
and unite as one unit. And I said unit twice. Anyway, we're not talking about units here. We're talking about unity. There we go.
There you go.
To work together as a whole, folks. There's no way that it's going to get any further or go anywhere if we don't, So that's all I'm saying.
Right.
And I appreciate everyone, anyone, and all of you that are willing to put forward to want to help in this. As long as you're not putting yourself in danger, of course, that's never okay. But I think we all appreciate that we can work together in multiple communities and make something possibly happen finally at some point with this. So
You
And
guys
just
are talking about units. How about you put up a few polls tonight?
Oh,
We haven't done that in a minute.
Here we
Here
go
we go.
again.
With
Speaking
the
of
polls.
Here we go again.
never fail.
Uno momento, por favor. I have to step away for a moment.
Okay.
Oh, you say poll and he's gone. See that?
Yeah, he disappeared on us.
I don't know. People always seem to like the polls that we would throw up there.
I see the chat's going nuts over Mowich. Everyone's talking about Mowich.
What's going on, Mowich now?
Oh, Nick
Different
Mowich.
people are talking about Mowich.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's so many different scenarios with this case, and we all know that Pav did numerous deep dives on the Mowich guy, or Mowich,
Right.
however it's pronounced. I don't know.
Well, he thinks that Elantra it was involved, the one that was in the accident.
The
Yeah.
Oregon one. I've always had questions. Listen,
Yeah.
I don't believe in coincidences in this,
and it
in
has
this
fog
case at all.
lights. There's fog lights on that.
I don't
Yeah.
wanna talk about these damn fog lights again.
Yeah, and I
Thank God.
remember when that came out. Okay, so I never even brought this up, but when the case first happened and they first introduced the white Elantra that,
Yeah.
is of interest or whatever,
Right.
I was seeing so many white Elantras in my area. I
Oh,
would
yeah.
never notice. I mean, you see a
Right,
million
right.
cars. Like I would never even notice like a car like that, right? Something that's ubiquitous, right? I was seeing white Elantras. I'm like, oh shit, there's a white Elantra. And I remember hearing Colorado, you remember, was being mentioned
Yes.
at different times, right? And so I was seeing white Elantras and I'm like getting impulses. Should I call it in? Should I let somebody know?
Right.
But then you realize they're everywhere.
So,
Yeah.
100%. I've seen more of them now than I ever did in my life. Agreed. Were you going to say something, Logan, or add anything? I seen you look like you're going to speak.
No.
Okay, sorry then. Did you have a
Well, screw
poll?
you then.
Did you have a poll that you wanted to put out, Lee, since the polls got brought up again?
You want to see my poll? Hold on. I don't know. What do you want to put up?
Yeah, could ask about
idea.
Copaka. If people think that Copaka is connected to
I think we've
the
done
BK.
that one before. I don't
Oh
know.
no. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Okay, I got a poll.
Oh God, here we go.
I got to get the right place to pull my poll up here. Hold on. So what I'm gonna work on the wording, if you want to get starting drafting before I get there, is so I'm going to tell you. This is not the wording. I'm going to tell you the thing. So we just got a document sent to me that is believed to be a lease between Brent Copaka and his brother Zach Copaka in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, and has their signatures on it. So let's ask the audience: do you think it'll end up being a legit document? Yes or no, or no clue, or I don't give a shit.
I don't give a shit.
So I'm going to start.
I love Logan's answers when she does the polls. She throws a little something extra in there. Yes.
Well, you've been DA. You've been screaming about the Pennsylvania connection for as long as I've known you. And then when you showed me how close together they both lived, if in fact we can confirm that they lived close to each other in Pennsylvania, and
what was the name of the area again, Lee? That the lease is from?
Williamsport, Pennsylvania.
All right, Willie,
which is where, by the way, Copaka's mother had a house as well.
Okay. Now, Willie, if you can hear me, how far are you from Williamsport, where you're at right now, bro? If you can hear me, and I have the poll ready. Do you think the lease will be legit? Yes, no, or I could care less.
Yeah, and mine says, will the lease agreement prove to be true that Brent Copaka lived in Pennsylvania? Yes, no, or who cares?
Okay. All right.
All right.
You ready?
Yeah, let's go. 1, 2, 3, fire. I figure Logan probably already has it up and has it running for the last 20 minutes.
And Willie just said it.
I waited until you said go.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
You beat me so many times. I'm like, she's not waiting for us. She's already got it up and she'll tell us what the results are.
Willie just said it's like an hour and change from him, so it's not bad.
Okay. It's also an hour and change from Albertsville, Pennsylvania, where the Kobergers lived. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we're right.
That's around where he's at. Is that distance? So.
Yeah.
All right. I'm running a good solid about 90% yes, it's going to end up being true. No, 7% no, and 4% who cares.
So far, I have 69% yes, 6% no, and 25% I could care less.
25% of your people give a shit about Copaka, huh? Well, that says something. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry we're wasting your time over there on that channel. I was like, who gives a shit about Copaka?
Well, I mean, right now I understand it, but if it were to bring something to the table, that's going to change.
Somebody didn't get the poll. Did you give them the poll?
Jesus Christ.
Maybe. Never mind.
I got 18 votes. They don't even want to vote on it. Come on, you guys.
I got 90, 96, and I got 97 and 3. So 90% yes, 7% no, 3% who cares.
Well, I got that changed now. 75%.
What'd you get? Did you
yes.
did you even tell us, Logan, how your audience feels? Did you already say?
She's waiting because she added one of her special answers to it. I promise you.
Oh God.
We have 27 votes right now.
I have 21.
Okay. I got 32, so we're all pretty close to the same.
We're getting there.
You gonna wait till the poll gets bigger?
Just.
I think mine's pretty much done. It's not moving.
All right, same here.
I'm not gonna say anything.
I think mine's kind of stagnated out.
All right.
All right, I'm gonna end my poll. Yeah.
I'm putting my poll away. And waiting for the answer.
I ended at 87 yes, 8 no, or sorry, no, 87 yes, 8% who cares, and 5% no.
And I have
So
77% yes, 5% no, and 18% I could care less. And okay, let's hear it, Logie.
I have 77% yes, 19% no, and 4% I was sleeping.
I told you. I told you.
Yeah, of course. Well, look, I mean, here's the great thing about it. If it ever does, maybe people will shift a little bit away from the I don't give a shit if it ends up being true. And
that's what I think will happen.
Significance is. But I feel like I'm way putting the cart before the horse because we don't know how accurate it is. But it's
maybe I should have. Cynthia's right. You got to always wait till the poll is bigger. You got to be worth it. Good stuff, Cynthia. We love you guys. You guys are amazing.
Well, that was fun. That was a lot of fun. I'm kind of surprised. I mean, a little bit surprised at how many people don't really care about the answer, but that you can't please everybody all the time. So it is what it is. And look, we don't talk about it all the time either. So maybe people don't even know who the hell we're talking about.
30 Apache asked, and I thought you did, Lee. Did you get your military info on Brent,
yes.
or no? You did. Okay,
yes, I got a lot of information on Brent. I got all of his training packages, what training courses he went through, and all kinds of stuff, and years of service and stuff like that. I had asked for it as well from Brett Payne because they both served in 82nd Airborne and they both served in the same combat team. But I got more pushback on Brett Payne because he's still alive. So I got what I got was records from because he was a deceased soldier, Brent Lee Copaka. I got his stuff quickly, but the other one was like, well, he's still a active living soldier, and you need to have his social security number. And I don't know his fucking social security number. So if
maybe
I had a
you need to look
into,
maybe for Payne, you need to look into who carried Payne around in the backpack on his back. Maybe that'll give you more answers. I was wondering.
Oh my! You are brutal with that.
Just a little guy.
For those who are on the panel, I do invite you to stay a few minutes as usual. Afterwards, I'll show you the document we received so you guys can put your eyeballs on it and tell me whether you think what your sniff test is on it. So, and again, thank you, Felicia, for sharing that. This person had come forward to me a long time ago, and look, she told me a story about it too. So, I'll tell the story backstage. You guys have heard it. I've actually told the story publicly once before, but I feel like I'm getting too excited about it because it's such a chase I've been on for a year that I'm getting excited. I need to reserve judgment to make sure it's legit before I get all fucking worked up. Nobody wants to get all worked up to find out it was all for nothing.
Yeah. What happens when we run the polls.
All right. So any other, Logan, you said you had a few other kind of little case updates you put together for some kind of random updates on some cold cases or whatever, or types of cases.
Just, really short. Just the case updates for today for any high profile cases or new cases or anything. This isn't necessarily an update on a case, but there is Robert Mueller. He was born 1944, former FBI director and special counsel. Robert S. Mueller III has died at the age of 81 on Friday, March 20th.
Mueller's name sounds super familiar, and not just because I'm thinking Mueller.
Yeah, he was involved with the Trump, with the Trump stuff and
the towers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mueller was involved with the Twin Towers too, right?
Yes.
He was
Yep.
best known
Yeah.
for leading the investigation into Russian interference in the 2016
Oh
election.
my gosh.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
Did not know that he passed. Wow.
Yep.
All right. What else you got?
He'd been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease 4 years ago. So
Oh, that's
Oh wow.
we talked about this on my channel briefly, I believe, but Corey Richins was convicted in
Yeah.
Utah. The children's book author, she was found guilty of fatally poisoning her husband with a fentanyl-laced cocktail. Kelsey
Wow.
Fitzsimmons trial, the bench trial for
Right.
North Andover police officer Kelsey Fitzsimmons is set to begin Monday, March 23rd. She is charged with assault by means of a dangerous weapon following a shooting in her home involving a colleague. Then we have Little Dirk. His murder for hire trial was recently moved to August 25th of 2026. That'll be something I'm interested in personally.
Is he a rapper?
He is, but yeah, he is.
Gotcha. I wasn't familiar with the name.
He's a Chicago rapper. I actually know him personally. So
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
just from like long time ago before he was a popular rapper.
Sure.
So
Nice.
Derek Rosa, the trial for the 15-year-old accused of killing his mother was expected to begin in January. I don't know anything about that case. And that's really the only updates for today.
Cool.
Anything new with Nancy Guthrie at all? Anybody before we shut down?
No, but I was gonna say that. What was the case? The first or the second case you read? That was the was it Corey Richins?
Corey Richins?
Yeah, I think I don't check TikTok much anymore, but I pulled up TikTok and Ali Benevento, I think, was covering that case, and she was watching the like closing arguments and stuff, and she was commenting about people's ripping on the defense team, saying the defense was horrible, and she's like, "Have you heard the prosecution's close? Because it was like grade school level stuff." I think that was her that she was saying that. I thought it was interesting.
I haven't had a chance to watch the trial yet, but I was very interested in that case.
Oh, that's another one too. Stacey Wondra, for those of you that might be following that with the Michael Vaughn case, that starts April 15th.
I heard that case was something I should get into. That's an Idaho case, right?
Yeah, that was pretty bad. I've covered that way back when Michael Vaughn first went missing. Horrible situation, but Stacey is him and his wife and all they're pukes. They're just pukes. So that hopefully that trial doesn't take long and they put him away quick. So
all right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. I like that little addition. I like that it's quick and dirty. I always like quick and dirty. It's pretty good. I like that. So I appreciate that. Oh, you're muted still. You're still muted.
Quick and dirty case updates. Dun, dun, dun.
All right, let's go around the horn. Let's go Dago, JJ, Logan, 1-1, Robin, and then I'll close. So Dago, you get the first. So remember last time I completely dicked you over and didn't even allow you to do a close until you're like, hey, you can let me talk. So now you get first shot.
I'm getting used to it.
All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us again tonight. It's always a great conversation. This turned out to be a pretty. It always does a pretty interesting conversation because you guys are pretty interesting peeps, and I appreciate Miss Logan, 1-1, Robin, JJ, Lee, all you guys. We have the full deal tonight, guys. I love it. All having me here to join you. It's an honor as always to have these amazing conversations. Nothing but love to all of you, all of the moderators. You guys are amazing. Every single one of you is very important to each of these channels. We appreciate you so very much. Thank you to my production manager, Mikey, my videographer, Molly, as always, and I have to say it again, my amazing moderators. I wouldn't exist without you. Thank God you guys are here. I love you guys to death. Guys, great conversation. Great stuff, period. Nothing but love for you guys. Again, don't forget to love yourselves, love each other, please, and don't change nothing, because as I always say, because it's absolutely the facts, you are all the beautiful people, and I will see you guys very soon.
All righty. Thank you so much for that great close. JJ, what do you have for closing thoughts?
All right. Thank you, advocates. Thank you to the denizens, the meatballs, the believers, and the mods. And Essie, I hope you're healing up after surgery. Yeah, these kind of conversations, I like when we zoom out and look at the bigger picture stuff, because I think you can get mired in the details in a lot of cases. And I tend to believe when operations are involved, a lot of details are there to distract people. And that's a pretty standard, in my opinion, based on what I know, a standard procedure in operations. You have to distract away from the bigger picture. So I like when we zoom out and talk about this stuff. And so yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was an interesting conversation, and I look forward to finding more info about this lease, if it's legit or not, because that's another big thread to pull. So I'm sure we'll dive into that more in the near future.
Yes.
Very, very cool. All right. And Logan, what are your final and Bronx's thoughts for the evening?
He's got to go out so bad. Sorry. Thank you, Moto, so much. Moto sent a super chat. He said Robert Mueller was the special investigator for Russiagate. When he was called to testify to Congress, we found out he had no answers and was barely able to speak, similar to Biden. Thank you for that so
Nice.
much, Moto. You're always so supportive, and we appreciate you so very much in this community. Thank you also to Vanessa for gifting 5 memberships. We have 5 new turtles tonight, so we appreciate you very much. Thank you, Bianca, for modding tonight. You are absolutely perfect in what you do with us and in this community for everybody, so we appreciate you. And everybody else who always shows up for us every single night, we appreciate you guys so, so much. Do something nice for yourself. Be kind, but more importantly, be kind to your animals. Have a great night, guys.
All right. Thank you so much for that. And 1-1, King of the Clips. What's your close?
Great discussions tonight. Thanks everyone for joining. As always, love all of you, the panel and all the mods, all your help. Don't forget, we have a special show starting tomorrow on John Benet Ramsey. Many different threads to pull on that. It's going to be super interesting. I've been interested in that case for a very long time. Yeah, I think there's many different angles to threads to pull and look at different cases, but with the Idaho 4, I think JJ has a good point, good side looking at the big, the bigger picture with this. It definitely seems that something else is going on, and it definitely would be someone like a Koberger that would be recruited for an operation, being that of the field and what he was interested in. So good stuff. And as he said, sometimes they try to confuse you with the minor details, or to distract you with a bunch of nonsense, and there's other things to look at, and you miss it because sometimes you're paying attention to other stuff. But obviously with any case, any forensics, any specialists, there's all different ways to start a case, and interviews and look at different things. But the timeline, there's no case that everything is always gonna come out perfect exactly like what you think. But timeline is a pretty big deal. So hopefully down some way or other, maybe with a whistleblower or to that effect, we will actually get an authentic kind of timeline that will help a lot. So I'll leave you with a movie quote. This one is a newer movie, so it should so think in the past like 10 years or so. Look, talent comes everywhere. Everybody's talented. Fucking everyone in this bar is talented at one thing or another. But having something to say and a way to say it is so that people listen to it. That's a whole other bag. And unless you get out and you try to do it, you'll never know. That's just the truth. And there's one reason we're supposed to be here is to say something so people want to hear. Don't you understand what I'm trying to tell you? Yeah, I do. I don't like it, but I understand it. Oh, I think you like it a little bit.
No idea.
I got nothing.
I got nothing.
Tomboy said A Star Is Born.
Yeah.
So did Bianca.
It's A Star Is Born?
That's not actually a new movie. It's a remake.
I was gonna say it's a new movie.
I knew her. Yeah,
very old movie. Yeah.
Right.
So it's with Bradley Cooper and Gaga. Yeah.
Yep. And then
which
the
was very
original had
good.
Barbara Streisand and Chris Christopherson, didn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
Both of them were great movies. Really.
Yeah.
I saw the original. I never saw the remake.
It's good.
The remake's worth watching. It's good. It's good. All right, Robin, what do you got for? Thank you, one for the movie trivia. You stumped us with the newer thing. Apparently, we suck. If it's not decades old, we have no chance. So short-term memory is suck. Our long-term memory is okay. But go ahead.
One. What is your sign?
My sign?
Yes.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Ace of base.
I'm an Aries. Actually, my birthday is coming up very shortly.
Nice.
All right.
Okay. All right.
What do you got for close?
Well, thank you so much for coming out, everyone. Like I always say, we appreciate you if you're here live, and we love you if you're on the replay crew. The support either way is much appreciated, as are, liking the video, subscribing to the channel. Your memberships are very appreciated. Thanks to whoever, donated super chats and everything else tonight. Your generosity is very, very appreciated. And so we're excited about tomorrow night, going over the John Benet Ramsey case. That's going to be fascinating. And the angle that I'm very interested in myself is with Othram supposedly getting involved in that case as well. It may be a good time to bone up on that case if it's been a minute since you've watched anything or gone over anything concerning it. So come along with us as we go through the case. We'd love to have you. And from the comments in the chat, look like we have quite a few people who are interested. So that's fantastic. And I hope everyone out there has a wonderful night. And we'll see you tomorrow night while the boss man is off. So.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And I'm looking forward to watching Othram Labs break that case after all these years. But, I remember it got a gasp of shock in the audience at CrimeCon when they said that the DNA on the rope or whatever garrote thing had never been tested. And people were like, oh, like it's never been tested. And so there was got this huge, and then they're like, Othram needs to test that. And they're like, we're going to do it actually. So we'll see what happens, and that's going to be interesting as well. All right. As for me, I will say thank you again for coming to the show and supporting both of the other channels that stream with us. And all of the panelists have great things to say. They're all here for a reason. Hopefully you appreciate their perspectives on various things. I don't have plans to do an after show tonight. I'm not against the idea, but I don't have plans for it. So we'll see how that goes. So if you're members only, you might see something fire up. You might not. Depends on my mood and how that plays out. But anyways, thank you for coming. And I appreciate the panels going along with the discussion on the Wade Wilson story and the pretty factor, the how to do a document request. I'm looking forward to putting together some class for those who want to learn some things on that, of what we've learned in the process of the last year doing our own records, things, the things that we've learned, the do's and the don'ts and all that kind of stuff like that. And then thanks for the surprise document that may change a lot of things. We'll see. We're going to do a little digging and verify the receipts on that. But if it is what it looks like, then that would be enormous, and we couldn't thank you enough for that spontaneous moment. That's the moment I've been waiting for with this channel, is the point where people start giving us information that they've been sitting, because that's how it works. Like, you funnel it to us and we'll get it out there, but it has to be good, and we don't want to make the mistake of putting something out there that has a major flaw that nobody caught. So thank you all, and we'll catch you again. You guys will do tomorrow night with the team. You guys moved the time up on Sunday, right, to 5 o'clock Pacific, just like the regular show?
Yep.
Okay. So 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I will be back on Monday, but don't forget tomorrow's show with John Benet Ramsey. I'm kind of super interested to see how that pans out. I bet you it has appeal even to this day. So that's it, folks. That's it, folks.
Have a great night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.